What's up, guys? I just got back from nationals and I have some ideas on how you can shoot better there. Yeah. So here's what I think you need to succeed at the Usbc Nationals this year. Both patterns play a little bit different than last year, so a little bit different in what you expect. Team pattern hooks quite a bit. You know, they definitely hook a lot more than I was expecting, and I think anybody was expecting, but it wasn't that bad. The shot was very playable. It was easy to keep the ball in play. So I'm going to go over my equipment that I used. I shot 18-20, which was okay. Didn't kill it by any means, but I kept the ball in play. So, and I also missed like 10 spares. Well, I had like 10 opens. Probably missed about 5 easy spares. So, anyway, both days I started out breaking the lanes down with a Kingpin Max. Pin down, probably about, I don't know, 40-degree mass bias. The surface on this ball I tuned up from the beginning on the Haas machine, 500, then 1,000 grit on top, and left it alone. I used this out of the gate in practice, but it never saw any action during the tournament. And the reason for that was it was good to see it a little sooner, but it never did come around the corner. You know, so where I felt like I was in the right zone, I had a better option. So here's the ball I did the most damage with. Original Katana. Same surface as the Kingpin Max. I hit it with 500 on the Haas machine and finished it with 1,000. This ball got the most play. It's a pin up. Probably about 70 degree I think I did on this, maybe 60. So I was able to start with this ball in both team and doubles and singles, playing different parts of the lane, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. In team event, you know, everybody started breaking the pair down around 5, 6, somewhere in there. And towards the end of practice, I noticed that most of my team was starting to move in. Our companion team was really far left, but they weren't using much surface. You know, they were more slower speed, and then there was a lefty. But I found myself out there, first arrow, all by myself, and that's not where you want to be, is by yourself, because you're going to get caught into a bad transition. So I moved in immediately. Actually, my first shot in team, I had not even practiced in that zone. So I moved my feet a whole zone left and tried to get the ball up second, third arrow with a little bit of swing, not much, with this Katana. It looked okay. You know, a team is very touchy to start because they hook a lot more than you expect them to, you know, from fresh. It's a shorter pattern. I'm not sure exactly the distance. But second and third arrow was good to start. And by the end of the night, we were all moved in pretty deep. You know, we were playing between fourth and fifth arrow, and I was using a shiny ball by then. So you don't need the big, solid surface balls. You know, like I said, everybody's different, you know, so it might work for you, it might not. For me, and most of the guys on my team, a lot of variety with how we play. It wasn't very good. You know, the big, solid balls weren't that good. The balls that were a little more responsive, that had a little bit of surface. That is still key. You know, you can't use shiny out of the gate. You needed some surface for the ball to slow down. But as the transition began, they started hooking a little bit more in the fronts. So, you know, the ball would see the friction and flatten out. So, you know, you got to chase it in, and you got to get ahead of it. If you find yourself, you know, leaving 4-pin after 4-pin because the ball is kind of checking up and then setting in the pocket, you're just a little bit too far right. So don't be afraid to move in a little bit. Maybe even go to like a weaker ball, which I'll show you next. Next ball I used quite a bit once the Katana saw it too early and was too strong. The next ball I transitioned to was the Creed Revelation. Same layout as the Katana, less surface. This was just hand touched with like a 2000 pad. It's shined up by now. But when the fronts went away a little bit and I had to make a move left and needed to get that ball through the front, both days the Creed Revelation was the better choice when the lane started to break down. In doubles and singles, I stuck with Katana for probably 3 games, 2.5 right in there, and then I moved into the Creed Revelation for about the next 2 or 3 games. During team, the Katana was good for about a game and a half. So that big surface, the extra surface helped slow it down and keep it in play. I didn't split a lot this week. I didn't give up the pocket a lot, especially in doubles and singles. Kept the ball pretty much in play. I was really sloppy on spares. I want to just throw that out there. My spare game has been terrible lately. I probably gave up 70 pins in spares. So my 1820 could have been close to 1900. But those are the breaks, It's just I wasn't sharp, and that's just how it goes. You're gonna miss spares. You shouldn't. And I even practice them, but I'm not that good anymore. So, team, there wasn't really any kind of shim to play. There was no kind of hold that you can make the ball, force it to play. You had to kind of open up your angles, especially as the night went on, and get that ball to get around it, and then get through the pins to carry and strike. So you just got to trust it. You got to burn up the outside in practice, around first arrow, 5, 6, 7, 8. Move into like second and third in team, and then chase it in, because they're going to hook. They hook a lot. They hook plenty. Don't be afraid to get in and hook around it a little bit. I think that's what you have to do. We didn't bowl phenomenal. We shot like 28-50, something like that as a team. I was pretty consistent, 189, 189, 193. But that won money in brackets. So I was very surprised. Scores overall were pretty low in team. If I were to do it again, I probably would have got a little bit further left, a little quicker. I thought the first game I bowled pretty good, but I had one bad break in the 9th. I thought I threw it good, but ended up leaving a 210. I think I was just getting into that zone I was in. I was just sticking there too long, feeling like I have to just increase speed a little bit instead of just moving my feet where I needed to go left. And I kind of paid the price. I threw it through the spot. Just overthrew it a little bit, and that was it. So that was 189. It could have been a bigger game than that the first game, and that would have changed the whole perspective of the night going forward. So had I just made the moves and started moving left with everybody, I thought it would have been a little better. Now in doubles and singles, there's a different story. There's shim. And what I mean by that is the ball's going to hold pocket a little bit better. From the get-go, I played further out right to start. I was playing closer to first arrow with the katana, with the 500, 1000 grit, and I was playing it more pointing up at it. I was playing straighter at it. Overall, it looked good. And then once I started making that slow move in, we bowled the 6 games, and I didn't get as far deep as we did in team. I felt the strategy for me was to not play so much the hook, to try to hook around it, because some guys on our team did, and they kind of paid the penalty when they missed a little bit right or missed it off the spot, because it would come off that cliff and never get back. So they left a lot of 2-pin combinations, 2 10s, 2 8 10s, 2 4 8 10s, which are tough spares, and you're just not going to pick those up very often. My strategy was to play it a little tighter and increase my speed a little bit more to keep it on line. Did it work? Yes, because I didn't really get into too much trouble as far as leaving tough combinations or anything like that. Where I could have done a little bit better, I could have probably gone to a weaker ball a little sooner. I stuck with katana a little bit longer than I probably should have. And then once the Creed Revelation saw it too early, I didn't go to the original Creed. So original Creed, now this is shiny. I hit this with some polish, pin in the palm, and it does have an extra hole, small one, which means it's going to be illegal in a couple years. Whoops. This ball was something I went to when the lane started to get fried. This ball looked really good in team the last game, because they started hooking quite a bit, but once again there was no shim, so you didn't want anything to come sideways off the spot. And having the pin and palm with a shinier cover helped it kind of get to the front but not overreact on the back. This ball came into play at the end of doubles and singles. At singles I used it probably about the last game. Had an okay look on it. I just didn't make good shots the last game. I missed a couple easy spares, only shot 190 something. Those are the breaks, I just grinded it out. For me, no, I didn't want to give up the pocket. Last year I had a really bad tournament. Made some changes in my game, slowed it down a little bit so I can get the ball to read. And this year was a lot better with staying consistent. My low game was 180. Obviously I had one big game with 262. That was my second game with doubles. Shot that with katana, playing it off the corner and playing either the hold and the hook. By the time they developed a little bit, I had a little bit of hook to the right and a little bit of hold to the left. So as long as I got it off my hand clean, I pretty much struck. Looking back on it, it's always easy to think, oh, if I'd have done this different, if I'd have done this different. The only thing I could really take away was that I could have made the moves a little bit sooner. I felt like my adjustments were more speed related versus moving my feet. I was a little bit quicker to increase my speed or loft to get the ball to kind of shim. You know, especially in doubles and singles, I wanted to stay straight. I never got really further left than, you know, playing like between third and fourth arrow in doubles and singles, whereas in less time we were further left in team because they hooked a lot more and there was no shim. So my thought process there was, you know, I want to get the ball through the front but not play too much angle. I didn't want to go around the pattern. I wanted to kind of go fallback, you know, for you old school guys, fallback shot. And that seemed to work okay, you know. Grinded out singles, 217, 210, and I don't know, 190 something. But, you know, I gave away some pins. Like I threw one out the window in the 10th frame in the second game, you know, turned 240 into 210. So you get kind of frustrated, and that kind of leaked over into the next game where I just got a little more frustrated. But, you know, no one's perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'll take an 18-20 at Nationals. I thought I bowled pretty, I wouldn't say good. I would say I thought I bowled okay. I thought I threw the ball okay. Obviously my spares were sloppy, and I'll just have to work on that. Unfortunately, it's golf season now here in Michigan. We got beautiful weather. As you can see, played today, beautiful day. Old standby melee jab, pin up, no extra hole, hand surfaced. This ball just, it came off the spot too hard. It saw the friction so hard, and it came off it so hard that it would have forced me into a zone left of where I wanted to be. You know, so it wasn't an easy transition from, say, like katana to melee jab. It just wasn't a linear move for me. It's kind of like a warm blanket. You know, you have that ball you really, really like. Unfortunately, it was just too strong. You know, I just drilled it a few weeks ago. I didn't intend to bring it out here because I felt comfortable with, you know, the katana and the creeds, the ones I really wanted to use the most. I felt like had the most confidence in. So this was just kind of a ball that I thought I could bring in, and it really never saw lane play at all. I threw it maybe twice just to see what was out there and put it back in the bag. And then, of course, the almost spare ball, the True Motion. Just pin down, no hole, simple. But urethane, I don't think is in play. It's just not in play. I never really tried it. It was never even an option for me to throw. I wanted to take a ball designated for spares, something I had practiced with earlier that week. Overall spare game was okay. No, it's not okay at all. Don't miss spares. It's frustrating to miss spares because they shouldn't be that hard and it should be easy to do, but you just sometimes miss them, and you know, you go through streaks where you're really good, and then you go through some streaks where you feel like you can't, you know, hit the side of a barn, or you can't hit water if you fell out of a boat. You know, overall, it was a good Nationals trip. Had fun with my boys from Alaska, Andy Morton, Doug Morton, Joey Kryson, James Crafty, and the rest of the Alaskan crew. Thanks to Center Bowl, Chris Clapper, you know, for sponsoring our teams. I have a lot of fun with the group every year. We had a good time. You know, we got to witness Gordy Bear hit 100,000 pins on the team squad. They stopped everything, made everybody stop bowling on the third game, and they presented him with his crystal pin for 100,000 for that accomplishment. It's really cool to see. Hope this was helpful. If you have questions on equipment, you know, I can definitely help you out with BrunsNick equipment, maybe setting up your arsenal. Just, you know, comment below. I'll see what I can do for you. You know, if you're using other brands, sorry. Hopefully you guys do better at Nationals. You know, hopefully you got an idea going in what to expect, what kind of balls look good. You know, bottom line is I don't think the big ASIM balls with the solid covers were that great for there. I thought more of the flippier, more responsive balls that had a little bit of surface, you know, still staying in ASIMs. So, you know, like Katana, Creed Revelation, even Katana Slash for those that maybe have a little more ball speed. Those balls look pretty good. A wide variety. You know, obviously how you play is going to change, the way you're going to attack the lanes. But overall, you know, who I saw scoring, who I saw doing well, and the guys that have shot big already all have, you know, the one thing in common. You know, Cody Holbeck shot 802 in singles with an Intel, and he was playing you know, that kind of shim line as well. He was just really accurate, made great shots, but if you watch from his shots in singles there the last game, you know, he wasn't that far deep. He was just trying to play that little shim. Probably got one leaked out a little bit right, and left, I think, a 210 in the 9th frame or 10th frame or whatever. You know, 802 is huge. And he wasn't using a very aggressive ball that either had a lot of surface, because you just don't need it. That's my opinion. From what I saw, take it for what it's worth. Apply it to your game. Like I said, if you have questions, put them down in the comments here, and we can talk about it some more. See ya.